First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. Thanks for joining us here today. Appreciate it. You know, we're live here every weekday at 1 p.m. Pacific, and we get to talk about a lot of different things, and we have our own Fox 12 Oregon celebrities here that are joining us right now. Joe V here on the show. First time being here on the show, which is awesome. Really appreciate it, and I'm so excited for what we're going to be talking about. Portland Wrestling.
Yes.
All right. I was a fan when I was a kid. Portland Wrestling Uncut. This was you.
Right.
You
Yes.
hosting this.
Yeah, let's give a little background here. So for people that don't know, first of all, Portland Wrestling itself was a long-time show that aired here on KPTV back in starting the 50s, all the way into the early 90s.
It was that far back?
Long time. One of the longest-running shows in the history of television, actually. On most of that right here on KPTV. You couldn't call us Fox 12 because there was no Fox at the time, right?
That's
This
right.
is the pre-Fox era. Every Saturday night, fans would tune in to watch, all sorts of great wrestlers like Moondog Mayne and Tough Tony Bourne, you name it. Well, it went away. The WWF at the time, now WWE, kind of took over the wrestling world, and these small territory promotions kind of went away. But there's always this hunger to bring it back. Well, in 2012, the fall of 2012, we brought back Portland Wrestling, its spiritual successor, let's call it that.
Okay.
Which was called Portland Wrestling Uncut. And it was led by a couple of legendary wrestlers with ties here. One was my friend, the Grappler. I'm wearing a shirt
Got the shirt right
Len
there.
Denton. He worked behind the scenes. And then the executive producer of the show was one of the most famous wrestlers of all time, a man who called the Portland area home Roddy Piper. And so, yes,
Legend.
I was the announcer, one of the announcers on the show. And then very quickly, when the show took off, I kind of got sucked into helping produce the show and put the show together. So I got a real kind of behind the scenes look at what it was like. And I was just telling Greg, it was some of the most fun, but some of the most bizarre moments of my television career. And I've been doing this for a while now.
I mean, it's got to be. So, I mean, you're a lifelong wrestling fan.
Yeah, I grew up as a little kid watching Portland Wrestling, watching the WWF, NWA, all that stuff for all these years. And it is true, I always thought, man, that would be so cool to work on a wrestling show. But I'd never think it would happen.
Right.
How does that happen?
How do you even get in on something like that?
So yes, I was basically 35 years old when my 12-year-old boy dream came true. I dreamed of this 20 years ago, and now it's all of a sudden it's happening. I'm working with one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, very closely, by the way. We would get together and put together the shows. I kind of learned how you put a wrestling show together.
Yeah.
Check this out. We would actually come together. It would be Roddy, Lenny, the Grappler, and myself. We would meet at my house because at the time I had two girls that were 5 and 3 at the time. And so I had to be home with the kids. So they would come over, we would sit in my living room and write a wrestling show.
Like you write it from just start to finish?
From start to finish. So Lenny would have a list of wrestlers' names, and then we would sit down, and Roddy was kind of like the head honcho. And here's kind of what I want to do. And then segment by segment, we would lay out the matches and that sort of thing.
Okay, I want this guy against
different
this guy.
storylines. Who's going to do an interview here? Who's going to do an interview there? Basically, the reason this all came about, it wasn't planned that way. I was just going to be the announcer, but the reason it came about is when they came out for the first taping, and this was in October of 2012, it became very apparent. Nobody working on the show from the technical side, on our side, because it was our TV people, knew much about how a wrestling show is supposed to look, what's the format supposed to be. And the wrestling people didn't really know, well, how do you put a studio show together? What are the different elements that you need, that sort of thing.
Two very different worlds.
Right, so I kind of became the liaison of, let's take what the wrestling guys want to do and somehow translate that into television. And consequently, I got sucked into this wild vortex.
Talking to the customers so the engineers don't have to. Yeah, going in between. Yeah,
exactly. Good Office Space reference there. Thank you very much for that. And so, yes, it very quickly became one of these things where I got to see how the sausage was made.
Yeah.
And what a fascinating process that is. And fun. I mean, I got to tell you, it was crazy. At times, there was some unpredictable stuff. I saw wrestlers get hurt. I saw wrestlers get their teeth knocked out. You name it. I mean, people like to use the F word, fake.
Right.
Folks, let me tell you something. I saw these guys destroy their bodies on television and then come back and wrestle an hour later.
Yeah.
It was very impressive, and so many of the wrestlers I'm still friends with today, 10 years later.
Well, and this was, I want to reiterate too, this was all filmed right here.
Yeah.
Like where we are at.
I think we had
really close.
We have some clips we could
Yeah,
show,
we
right?
do. Yeah, let me
Let's
pull
go ahead
some
and
up
show
here.
what this was like. Yes, because folks, I got to tell you, back in the day, the old Portland wrestling was done in a place called the Portland Sports Arena. They actually had taken an old bowling alley and created an arena out of it. Well, what you're seeing here, there's me in the hot rod.
Yeah.
We did all this right here in our studio, and this is not a studio that was built with pro wrestling in mind.
It's a news building. Yeah.
We have a so we have a studio where we do our newscast, and then we have another spare studio, and that's where you're seeing right here. So we set up risers. I mean, we had an audience right there to cheer on the wrestlers, all these different
So you were
wrestlers.
bringing in audience members here through the newsroom.
Right
and
here. They would not come through the newsroom. They would go around, but they would wait outside. And when it was time to get the show going, we would bring them in. They'd sit in the risers. They'd chew. They'd boo. They'd scream. We actually would have fans that would tailgate outside. They called themselves the turnbuckle tailgaters, and they would be out front cooking up burgers and hot dogs, waiting for the wrestling matches to begin. And then they'd come in and they'd have a good old time. There's Matt Bourne. There's the grappler right there. A lot of the wrestlers that you see here that made their way. And look at this. They're just right there. You know, I mean, that is not a very big studio, folks.
No.
I have to tell you. So it was just a very unusual thing. We didn't have a locker room. So in this we have 3 studios, a little behind the scenes here, folks. We have 3 studios here. One is where our newscasts are made. Studio B is where the wrestling happened. And then we have a smaller studio. It's called Studio C. That's where we currently tape Outdoor GPS. That was the locker room. So that's where guys would basically change and all that stuff. And so they would come in every Friday night.
I'm just imagining turning a Studio C into a locker room.
So first of all, they come in, they set up the ring, they set up the risers, all that stuff, and then clear it out of there. And then on Monday, we would come in to do Good Day Oregon in the morning. And let me tell you something, that makeshift locker room,
Yeah.
woo, a
bunch of sweaty dudes in there?
Yeah. Wrestlers. So, yeah, it was definitely just such a unique, bizarre time. These are Ethan HD right there, who's the guy I still have contact with there, and Quiz, the homeboy Quiz. Those were 2 of the wrestlers that we had on the show. We had a lot of local guys, but then we would bring in people with a national profile in some cases, like Roddy Piper. Our first champion was a guy named Davari, who had a nice run. He's actually working in WWE now as a producer. So
Wow.
a lot of guys that had worked on that big national stage were brought in as part of this. It was a good mix of kind of the young and the well-established veterans, and it was just really cool. We had the time of our lives. I talked to a lot of the camera operators, our videographers here. They still talk about. There were our guys.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
And so I was just talking to them about some of them about it recently, and they're like, "Man, those are some of the most fun moments they ever had here." Because it was like, you do a lot of the same stories when you're covering news every day, and this was just something so unusual. They never knew. Every weekend was a new adventure.
Yeah.
And it was just such a one-of-a-kind experience that we got to take part in.
How much would they know about as far as what the script is, or they're just covering exactly what
it's so funny you mentioned that. So the first taping, oh my gosh, what an adventure that was. Because, it used to be wrestling was very much quieted, and they kind of didn't want to give away the magic trick to the audience, right? And so a lot of times they wouldn't share things, even with production people, about, hey, this is going to happen. Look out for that guy.
Yeah.
Because, of course, they don't want to give it away that they know what's going to happen.
Right.
Well, that was happening a little bit in the first taping. In wrestling, they call it kayfabe, which means basically keeping up the code of pretending like this is all an actual athletic contest. And Roddy actually said to me after the first taping, because we're missing shots, because guys aren't getting shots, he's like, you know what? It's like the problem is like I'm trying to kayfabe our director and our camera people. We need to let them know what's going to happen. If this guy's going to come in and attack this guy, we need to make sure there's a camera there to capture it.
Yeah.
So eventually, then we started, cluing him in, like, be on the lookout for this. This guy's going to be right there. Make sure you have the camera shot. So yeah, there was an absolute learning curve and learning process. That first taping especially was a big learning curve. And then by the time we got to the second taping, we got it. And then we eventually got into a groove where we figured out a format. But man, we were really kind of making it up as we go. You know,
I
this
mean,
is not. It was a long way from WrestleMania here.
That's got to be, you know, stressful, but also pretty fun.
It was so
like both.
entertaining. It's such a fun, creative process. A big challenge.
Right.
Like early on, you know, I was very involved not just in the conception of the shows, but then we would tape it and then the post-production, cutting it together.
Yeah.
Putting together little vignettes, taping together little vignettes. I got very heavily involved to the point where I was spending almost as much time on the wrestling show as I was on the news show.
I can only imagine.
That was my actual full-time job.
I mean, that's a lot of stuff. And I mean, I've seen some of the episodes too, which, by the way, there are full episodes on our Roku app.
Our Roku and our Apple TV app,
Apple
I believe,
TV
right?
app, yeah.
So people can actually watch the Portland Wrestling Uncut episodes, which is so cool to hear.
And seeing some of those too. I mean, now that I'm working here, you know, I'm fairly new here, but I'm like, wait a minute, that's the hallway by the bathroom. You know, where these guys are beating each other up in the hallway. I mean, it's just wild.
It was so funny, and that was the thing. Like again, it's kind of this go-between between the wrestling guys and the production guys. It was usually Roddy. Roddy would usually have some crazy idea, like, okay, we need guys brawling right here, and I'd be like, okay, well, we can't do it there, but we can do it here, and that sort of thing. And here's why. I mean, we shot stuff out in our parking lot. I mean, all sorts of stuff. Wrestlers attacking wrestlers and all sorts of things in a place that was clearly not designed with that in mind. You know what I mean?
I think that's awesome though.
Yeah.
That was filmed here. You know, in the middle of all that.
It really
you know?
was. It was kind of, you know,
and that people were cool with it, because I could imagine, you know, I don't know who was in charge then or anything like that, but typically I would think, be like, I don't know, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
What's going on here?
I have to tell you, there are people that were here at the time that are probably still here that were kind of like, boy, what are we doing here? Like, well, but you know, the thing is, it actually really did build an audience. Like I say, I still get people that watch the show that reach out to me time to time, ask about it. People that work here on the show, that we have very fond memories about it. We kind of like go down memory lane, talk about that. And like I say, a lot of the wrestlers, I made friendships that I still have 10 years later, and we still get together and talk about it from time to time.
That's so
it's
cool.
Really fun.
I mean, what an experience too.
Yeah.
I do want to say too, you have a book.
I do.
You wrote a book.
I do. I do want to point out that I don't make money off this book anymore. All royalties go to the Len Denton Beer Fund, which is needed. So Lenny the Grappler. So as I mentioned, there's two
and we just saw it in one of the clips too.
So when we were working on the show, Lenny always had these great anecdotes about his career, about the time he wrestled Andre the Giant in the New Orleans Superdome, and Dusty Rhodes, when he was Ric Flair's driver, all this stuff. And I said, Lenny, I told him he reminded me of like a wrestling's version of Forrest Gump, you know? He was kind of like this guy that was kind of in the background, but he knew everybody and had crazy stories with every major figure in wrestling, especially in the 1980s. And I said, Lenny, your life should be a book. I will help you write a book. So after Portland Wrestling Uncut ended, we got together and we spent, this was now, I think the book came out in 2014, so this would have been 2012, 2013. We're getting together. I interviewed him, put together this book, and it's been on sale now. Grappler Memoirs of a Masked Madman. And a lot of people really enjoyed the book, and
it's fascinating.
Yeah, like I say,
I've been reading it.
It's not something I'm not making a buck on it, so I've signed all
Yeah.
royalties. So just so you know, but Lenny could use the beer money, so help him out. Check out the book; it's on Amazon.
The anecdotes are just crazy.
He's lived a crazy life. And the great thing about Lenny, and this is true of so many of the wrestlers, he is just a big teddy bear of a guy. He puts that mask on. I mean, it really is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
You just meet him. He's Uncle Lenny. He's the sweetest guy in the world. I mean, everybody here loved him. He would have been a great news producer, I told him, because he was great at facilitating all these different personalities and all that stuff. But the second he put that hood on, just stay away, because the Grappler was the guy you didn't want to mess with. Uncle Lenny, one of the sweetest guys ever, but the Grappler was somebody who didn't
flip the switch and boom, he turns into that.
Absolutely.
Did you ever think about getting into the ring?
So we did have one occasion where I actually did take a wrestler punched me in the ring. And of course, it was all planned. It's funny because it was in one of these meetings that we're having at my house. And essentially, the storyline at the time was we had a gang of outside wrestlers trying to take over the show. And I was the interviewer guy, kind of the mean Gene Okerlund, if you will, of the show. Yep. And Roddy was thrown out there. He's like, what we need these guys, the bad guys, who's somebody that these guys could attack or hurt, and all the guys from our side would band together to help them. Somebody who can't, fight for themselves and defend themselves. And I said, he's like, yes. So we did a thing where a wrestler named Kellen Wraith, I think was the wrestler, who punched me, and I took what they call a bump. And I had, actually on my back, I had my microphone pack, and I landed on it. Oh. And it hurt. Not from the fall, but because I landed on the thing. So I had a little bit of a bruise for a while there. But that was my one wrestling. But I think if it would have gone longer, I will tell you they had Roddy and Lenny had talked about the point me getting in there with one of the managers and that sort of thing. It never happened, and I was fine with it. I don't need to see announcers wrestle. I didn't want to, but if they would have asked me to, I probably would.
Still, you got to be in there and take a hit.
I took one for the team, quite literally.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It was an adventure. So, I brought some clips here.
Yeah.
So I think maybe I want to set these up just to show people kind of some of these are some of the more crazy clips. So first of all, okay, one of the most bizarre things you ever did was Roddy one day, it's like early December, and he said, hey, we're going to do a Christmas show. We're going to do it at Harvey's Comedy Club. I'm friends with the owner there, Barry. So let's do a show at Harvey's Comedy Club. I'm like, okay. I was like, well, when do you want to do this? In about a week and a half. And of course, it was going to fall on me to help put that together. So one of the things we did was at Harvey's with this Christmas show. So we're going to show just the opening of that, because it's a very kind of funny moment between Roddy and myself. Then we'll show a clip of, there was just a group of 3 guys that I just love to death. There was a tag team called the Blanchard Brothers and their manager, Mr. Ooh La La. And I love these guys. They were just constantly entertaining, funny, and really sweet guys off camera. So I did a little, every time I did a segment with them, it was just fun.
Yeah.
And so we're going to see that. And then the last thing is, this is probably the most bizarre match we had on Portland Wrestling Uncut. Roddy was friends with the comedian Gabriel Iglesias, the fluffy guy, right? And so he was in town.
That's a random pairing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Roddy would do a lot of one-man shows at comedy clubs. So that's how we got to know Gabriel. And Gabriel's a big wrestling fan. So he was in Portland to do a show. And he told Roddy, I'll be in town. Let's meet up. And Roddy said, well, hey, why don't you come on the show? And then Roddy's like, well, let's put him in a match. So we actually put Gabriel Iglesias in a tag team match. We teamed him up with our heavyweight champion, Big Ugly, who's another one of the wrestlers that I love to work with, who's a funny, funny guy. And they wrestled the Grappler's henchmen of the Exile and Dr. Cleaver, who are 2 big, kind of imposing guys. So that was the match that you'll see on here. And while we air that, by the way, people can ask us questions, right, on Facebook if they want to?
Yep, we're broadcasting live on Facebook, so whatever platform you're watching on right now, and YouTube. Feel free to drop in questions. And if you have some questions for Joe about Portland Wrestling Uncut or anything along those lines, drop them in there, and we'll see if we have some. We'll get those answered.
Yeah, I put this on the Fans of Portland Wrestling Facebook fan page, so hopefully some of you guys are tuning in. So can we show those clips then?
Yeah,
right,
let's roll them up. So we got them all here kind of in a row.
Portland Wrestling Uncut.
This is my home away from home, Harvey's, and this is an uncut holiday special. Now, first of all, I'm in the Christmas spirit. I'm Roddy Piper, and you're watching Portland Wrestling Uncut, and my buddy, Joe V, who I dressed up myself. Come on in here, Joe.
No, I'm not.
Come
no.
On. Time to stay
I
where
told
you
you
are.
I'm not doing this.
Doggone,
no,
yes,
we
Come
talked
here.
about this. We talked.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, Rod.
Hey, why did Santa's helpers have to go to the doctor? Because they had low self-esteem.
That's hilarious.
Did you get the shoes? Huh?
That's great. Thank you for this.
No, it's, you look good in it. Other people would look horrible and silly in it, but you look great. Why are elves good listeners?
Why are elves good listeners?
Because they're all ears.
Can we talk about the show?
Well, actually, I gotta go. I'm pretty busy myself.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here at Harvey's at the Hoyt Dining Room. Rod, it's an uncut Christmas. You ready for this? Stop laughing, please.
I'm ready for this.
Backstage with the Blanchards, Bubba and Jeremy, and their new life coach, Mr. Ooh La La. Bubba, this is it. The finals for the Pacific Northwest Tag Team Championship.
This is it, Joe V. This is bigger. It's better than anything else alive going anywhere today. It's the Pacific Northwest Tag Team titles. It's Portland Wrestling Uncut. It's the Blanchard Brothers. And just like the holiday season, now we don our gay apparel. Mr. Ooh La 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 La. I'm telling you what, we're jacked up for the tag titles. They're the biggest tag titles in the world. They don't mean anything else. If they're not the Portland Wrestling Uncut tag titles, they don't mean squat. Tell him, Jeremy.
You know, blood is thicker than tears. Blood is thicker than sweat. We are blood. We were born to do this, and I still have to ask. This is one of the biggest nights, period, for Portland Wrestling Uncut. We are crowning a tag team champion, and all I can think about is, why is this guy here?
He's a life coach. He's here to make our lives better.
Mr. Ooh La La?
Well, you know, Joe V, right now I might be donned in silver and black, but at the end of the evening, the only color I'll be worried about is gold, 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 because Les Frères Blanchard are going to take that piece de resistance in tag team competition in the Pacific Northwest tag team titles.
All right, gentlemen, the match is next. You're ready.
Get ready. We're going to run over ya, and we're definitely going to run through ya.
I don't know, Rod. I'm really scared, man. I just came to hang out. I had no idea that nobody was gonna have me in a match. I love wrestling, but I'm not a wrestler. There's no cake in the ring. It's just, I'm really nervous.
Yeah, you know what? You're in so much trouble.
Welcome back, everybody. Jovi in the announce booth. Roddy Piper
At this time,
is with us right now.
Dr.
Hot Rod, you've been backstage training Gabriel Iglesias, the fluffy guy, for his pro wrestling debut.
The fluffy guy. Yes, I've trained the fluffy guy. There's a lot of training to do in 3 minutes there.
I can imagine.
I try to protect him. I don't want to ruin anything. We got Doc Cleaver and Exile, obviously, that are already trained.
And here comes the Pacific Northwest Heavyweight Champion.
And their opponents, your champion, Big Ugly.
Yeah, look, I just now I dressed him up a bit.
All right.
He doesn't want to. He was a little nervous back there. It's hard to see all that shake at one time, but it was fluffy.
Big Ugly and Big Fluffy, a little protective gear there, courtesy of the Hot Rod. And boy, what is this guy in for, Roddy?
He's in for the time of his life. Could be the end of his career. But, I got to give him a lot of credit. He says hello. He's trying to find his corner. I guess I forgot to tell him that part. The headgear is Colts. It's from Tap Out. And, which I hope he doesn't do is Tap Out. He's a warm, see, Ugly, I think messing with him a little bit. He just kind of saying hi. Gabe does not know the rules of professional wrestling, which was interesting to try to explain to him.
First rule, don't let Exile or Dr. Cleaver get their hands on you.
Don't get close. Fluffy's found his way to the corner, and this is good. There's Ugly getting a game plan with him. There's Gabriel hugging for his life.
And the crowd getting behind the Pacific Northwest Heavyweight Champion. He looks like he's going to start out with Dr. Cleaver. Yeah. I'm not terribly surprised that Gabriel Iglesias did not want to start this match out, Rod.
Well, he's a gun-ho fella, but when he saw the size of Exile, he had some choice words like, I'm going to die.
Well, Big Ugly, of course, last week, it was the big victory, finally defeated Daivari for the Pacific Northwest Heavyweight Championship. The crowd went nuts. The crowd came in the ring. It was a huge moment. And now he's beginning his title reign with a tag team match against Exile and Dr. Cleaver. And in his corner, one of the biggest comedians in the world today, Gabriel Iglesias, a friend of the Hot Rod.
Can you imagine a Portland Wrestling Uncut having one of the biggest comedians in the world in the ring? It's just getting better. Now, look at Ugly. Ugly kind of frustrated. He's on his game, and he's got full control of Doc Cleaver. The fact that he would go in with Ugly as a tag partner
up and down. Big Ugly with the suplex on Dr. Cleaver, and he's going for the cover.
Yeah, Doc Cleaver way too in shape. Kicking out right away.
And there's Gabriel Iglesias watching on.
He's just got kind of that blank look on his face under the headgear there, and I'm not sure what the strategy is yet with Big Ugly.
What a stiff boot to the chest by Dr. Cleaver, knocking the wind undoubtedly out of the champion Big Ugly, and tags in Exile.
Exile, big boy. Now, Exile has no sense of humor. That's the part Big Fluffy's going to have to handle.
Look at that. Now, Big Ugly weighs about 270 pounds, and Exile just threw him around like a sack of potatoes. What is he smiling about?
So he waves to him. You know, it's uncut.
He's a braver man than I. I've got to say, Gabriel Iglesias smiling at the monster Exile, and in comes Dr. Cleaver once again. They've got the champion trapped in their corner.
You know, you never know. Gabriel might be a trained killer. Don't let the fluff fool you.
Right.
A nice, oh.
What is this? They catch Big Ugly.
Oh!
Throw him down with authority, Dr. Cleaver and Exile, and Cleaver going for the pin.
What a move. What a move. Gets a 2 count. Now Cleaver taunting Fluffy, but
I don't know. Gabriel said, boy, is this really happening right now?
yeah, I think that he
match.
just caught on that those boys aren't playing. Ugly coming back, and boy, Ugly's in shape. Fighting back constantly. He's going over to tag. Okay, almost made the tag to Fluffy, which would be really interesting
Yeah,
to see.
Gabriel's reaching his hand out for the tag. I don't know if he really wants that tag or not. But right now, you know, Big Ugly's the guy who agreed to this match. He said, hey, no problem. I'll tag up with the comedian. Is that what you want? Well, he's getting it right now, and there's Doc Cleaver. Oh, and the Bulldog by Exile.
What teamwork. Exile and Cleaver. Doc Cleaver, I've seen a big change. Look at Exile just staring at Fluffy. Saying,
Come on in, he says. Put that knee across the heavyweight champion, 2 count.
You know, okay, and
he wants Big Ugly to tag in Gabriel.
yeah, but I didn't see Gabriel really stretching out for the tag there.
I do not blame him. Big Ugly. Oh, look at
Yeah,
that.
but he missed. Oh, just glanced Ugly, and Ugly taking advantage of it and going. Gabriel had his hand out.
He did. You got to give him credit. He said, okay, I'll take the tag, but didn't. Okay, now he's got him kind of in a camel clutch here, it looks like.
The Iron Sheik.
Yes.
Which, just so you know, Fluffy had me in a video.
The Harlem Shake.
Thank you very much for just belting that out.
Right.
And this is kind of my way of paying him back. You can see that it's, I don't know, got like 1 million hits by now, and it's ridiculous.
Yes, Rowdy Piper, the Iron Sheik, doing the Harlem Shake with Gabriel Iglesias, and now he's in a tag match with Big Ugly, who's taking all the punishment thus far from Dr. Cleaver in Exile. Dr. Cleaver sending him back. Oh, and down goes the referee. Woo.
We could be in a world of trouble. Like, nice.
Oh, the
nice.
got up there, and he gets one from Big Ugly.
Ugly on fire, and you know, here's,
Wait a minute, Exiles wrapping up. Ugly, they're rolling around out there, and they're heading outside the ring, and that's where the battle continues. Now, wait a minute, what's this? We've got a masked wrestler coming out from under the ring?
That's a luchador. That's a Mexican
Oh, my
luchador.
goodness.
Where did he come from?
Top rope Hurricane Rana. He's got the sleeper hold on Dr. Cleaver.
He's got it hooked in on him. He's got the where's the referee? He's not part of the match.
My goodness.
Where's the referee? Referee, he's tapping. Oh, he's calling Gabriel, and he's calling.
He was calling Gabriel Iglesias, and now he's got Dr. Cleaver's already out cold. That luchador put the sleeper on Dr. Cleaver and knocked him out.
He comes from a big family.
Wait a minute. What?
You're kidding.
No, come on.
He won.
He did it.
Look under the ring, Ruff.
With an assist from the mysterious luchador, Gabriel Iglesias gets the win.
Look at that. Did anybody ever think you would get a hand raise from the Fluffy Nazi? And I don't know who's under the ring, but they say that they're come from a big family.
Big Ugly and Big Fluffy, if you will. Gabriel Iglesias getting the surprise victory thanks to an assist from the mysterious luchador.
Yeah, now he's got a hot rod. Oh, baby,
my goodness.
Baby, it is uncut. Ugly took the punishment. There's Gabriel, and I don't know. I guess one of his cousins. Somebody should check the ring.
What an ending. A big victory for the heavyweight champion and Big Fluffy. Thanks so much for joining us, folks. We'll see you next week on Portland Wrestling Uncut.
Oh, man.
Amazing.
It'd be good times. Those are memories, Greg. Those are memories.
I mean, Gabriel Iglesias, just randomly coming in there to wrestle.
Yeah. And that's not even the weirdest thing that ever happened on the show, but it's up there.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was just one adventure every weekend. It seemed like something new, something unexpected. The show didn't last terribly long. It was on for about 6-7 months or something like that.
That's a decent run.
Yeah, but I don't know if I could have handled much more than that, quite honestly. I don't think our studio could have either. It was great, though, to be a part of it. And what's cool is that people now can still watch these episodes, it sounds like.
Yeah, all of them are there on our Roku app, our Apple TV app, I believe our Fire TV app as well. So you can check out all those episodes, or a ton of them anyway. There's a lot of them on there. The full episodes that we've got up there. So that's super, super awesome. Go back through, watch those. I'm going to watch some of those.
Yeah,
now.
go watch our Christmas show. That's probably the most strange one that we had. I wrote a sketch for the Grappler where it's you just got to watch it. I can't describe it. It was bizarre.
That's it. Go see it. And Joe,
bizarre
thank you.
the best way.
Yes, all of it's bizarre in the best way. But that's what's so amazing about it. Joe, thank you too for coming over here to talk about this.
This is a blast.
This is so cool, and all the inside stories that you have. So I mean, you think of some more. We got to do this again. All right.
My desk is right there.
That's
so
true.
You know where I work.
Yeah, actually, you can see it. I think back there. And again, we are here. We're at the Fox 12 Oregon studios, the same place where Portland Wrestling Uncut was filmed. This desk wasn't here then, but it's here now. So thanks everybody for joining Fox 12 Now. We're live every weekday at 1 p.m. Pacific, and we've got more coming up today too. I've got actually the lead tiger keeper from the Oregon Zoo is going to be talking about its World Tiger Day tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's like the best title ever to have on a business card, lead tiger keeper.
And maybe the one job more dangerous than working with pro wrestlers.
It's true.
I'm the lead tiger
That's
tamer.
true.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. So I got to talk to her earlier today. We're going to be playing that interview here in just a little bit. So wherever you're watching, you can come right back to this platform. I mean, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on all those apps, the website. So lots of places to catch us. So we'll be back here shortly with that. We're going to sign out for now. Joe V, thanks for being here. Thanks everybody for watching. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.